So we will be discussing transforming student competitions and streamlining applications and how we can do that with the Submit platform. So I am Dee Butler. I'm the head of growth at Submit, and I'll be joined by Carol Olriri, the Student Inc. program manager at MTU, Gert O'Rourke, student enterprise coordinator, University of Limerick, and Nicholas Hawkman, mechanical engineering student and entrepreneur, and an MTU Student Inc. participant, among other things, I'm sure. And so student entrepreneurship is moving fast, and really what I want to show you is how universities are modernising competition management, simplifying the application processes, reviewing, and ultimately delivering reporting and measuring impact afterwards. So who is Submit.com? Good question. So we were founded in 2013. We're an Irish-based company, and our mission is to simplify and modernise how organisations handle online applications and submissions and reviews. So over the years, it's grown to serve many universities, grant makers, and enterprises worldwide, not just nationally, empowering clients to automate workflows and improve transparency in every stage of the programme and the processes. So who's speaking today? As I mentioned, Carol O'Leary, Gert O'Rourke, and Nicholas Hawkman. And what will we be covering? So practical workflows to manage applications, reviewing, judging, and communications all in one central hub. Proven approaches to standardizing the rubrics and fair evaluations, certainly at scale, and especially when there's multiple stakeholders involved as well. I'm sure it's not as straightforward as you would think. And then, of course, faster reporting and leadership for funders or participants and so on. So without further ado, I'm going to stop my sharing and hand over to Carol to take the stage.
Thank you very much, Dee.
You're welcome.
I have two screens here now, so I'm going to be going to the side, I'd say, so excuse my side view. I don't know how to do. I'm not used to Zoom as much as Teams, so you might just let me know now if you can see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just gonna, oh yeah, I can, perfect. I can see it in front of me. Okay, so I suppose Dee asked me just to cover how we use Submit in MTU. And I'm going to use Student Inc. as an example of how we use it, but it's only one of the many uses that we have from it. So as Dee said, I'm with MTU, and within MTU then we have set up the Student Hub for Entrepreneurial Development, the Shed. So I guess within MTU we're one of the biggest users of Submit for all our competitions. So just for those people on the call, in case they don't know about MTU, so MTU is a fairly new university. It was a merger between Institute of Technology Tralee and Institute of Technology in Cork, and we formally merged on the 1st of January 2021, so a relatively new university. And some key details: we have over 18,000 students, 2,000 staff members, over 140 courses, and over 100 student clubs and societies. And for anybody that doesn't know where we are, so this is Cork here and Tralee, so we cover all the southwest of Ireland. We have a number of campuses, so we have two main campuses in Kerry, the North Campus and the South Campus. Bishopstown is the main campus just outside Cork City. We have the National Maritime College that look after all the training for the Navy, apart from the artillery and the guns. We have a Crawford College of Art and Design, and we also have a School of Music. I think we're the only university in Ireland to have a castle. So we have Blackrock Castle, and there's a number of space observatory personnel based out of there. And we also have a gallery in the city for the fine arts. So that's just a little bit about MTU. Okay, so I guess we started Submit with just one competition, which was the MTU Prize for Innovation, which has been running in MTU for about 18 years. So the process before was we would set a deadline for a date of application. We would receive the applications from the students. We would ask them to provide 5 copies of each application, and these could be 30 pages plus. So on a Friday evening, whatever, 4 o'clock might be the deadline, you'd have all this paperwork coming in. We're dividing it into 5 different bundles. We had to write the time of receipt so that, you know, there was proof there that it was received before the deadline. We would write down the team lead on an Excel spreadsheet, and then we would distribute the pile of applications to each of the 5 judges. They would then score them separately on an Excel and add it in manually. So that was the application part. Then as a judge, then you had to go through that wad of applications, those paper applications, and score them individually. Now, we would agree the scoring criteria beforehand, but it was all recorded individually on Excel. And then the judges would reconvene in person to see who they would call for interview. Then we would take, so there was kind of a shortlisting criteria. So for example, we might get 40 applications and we might interview 20. So the 20 then that are shortlisted would go to another judging panel who would see those shortlisted 20. And then they would be called for interview and they would be scored again. So everything was done manually. It was done paper-based. It was just a nightmare. And I suppose the whole way through the process, we had no visibility of how many applications might be received. So students being students, no more than the rest of us, we would wait till the deadline to, to arrive into the office with the applications. So it wasn't until the last day that we'd know how many we actually had. So that was that. And then there was the storage of it then afterwards. Like we would have to hang on to it for a year or so, just in case there was any queries, and then we'd have to dispose of all the paperwork. So it was a bit of a nightmare. And it was grand when the competition was small, but as the competition got bigger and bigger, the problem became bigger and bigger. So then with Submit, how we do it now. So with Submit, we create a call out. So that's, I guess, an instance, or there's probably loads of other words you could use it. But say for the prize for innovation, that would be a single call out. So you can name it whatever you want. You can add in your questions. Students then have a QR code, which I'll show you in a little while, where they can scan it, or there's a link to follow. And once they start an application, they can go back to it 100 million times and they can update it until they press submit. So students, have the opportunity to go back. From our point of view, we can see how many applications have been started, how many are completed, and how many are in draft. So we can view it, and we don't have to wait until the deadline to start scoring the applications. So that's really helpful on our side. Then once the deadline passes, I give the people that are shortlisting access to the applications. And then there's a rubric there. Oh, we've got that on the next one, sorry. And then as well, from the student point of view, because of Submit, they can upload additional files. So these could be drawings, they could be little videos, and PDFs, etc. So that there's real flexibility there as to what else you can include, as opposed to to just the application form. For shortlisting, then on the side, we agree the scoring criteria and the scores, and each individual person scoring then, can do their own on the side, and it aggregates the total score. Then it's easy to generate reports. So how many applications, what was the score? You can sort them highest score to lowest score. And then once we agree, okay, again, going back to our 40 applications, we're going to interview 20. Once we agree the 20, those 20 can be put into a folder, specific folder. And then the second panel of judges get a link just to that folder. So they're only seeing the applications that they're reviewing. And then that's used for interviews. So you're getting rid of all the paperwork, holding the documents, getting rid of the documents, the manual Excel spreadsheets, which are all prone to error. And there's a digital footprint then in terms of, tracking when they were received and all of that. So it really streamlined our process, and that was just for one competition. So I've just kind of summarized the benefits here again. So definitely environmentally friendly. There's no million pages lying around the office for a year. We've complete control over who has access to the documents and the applications. As I said, you can monitor the application numbers along the way. You can download into Excel. You can pick what questions. So if you just want to know, student name, their department, their year, you can just bring that out. You can slice and dice the information then whatever way you want. And then I suppose for us, it's the same annual competition every year. So within minutes, we can have we can have the next year's call out created, changing the dates, maybe tweaking a couple of questions, and away you go again. And it creates a whole new call out with a new QR code and a new link. It has the facility to do bulk emails. So towards the end, when a deadline is coming close, we can monitor how many people are still in draft, and we can just send a reminder to those people in draft to say, look, you've only 2 more days to complete your application, blah, blah, blah. So it's just so easy to do that. From a marketing point of view, there's automatically a QR code generated and an embedded link. So on the next slide, I have our current marketing flyer for students, and you'll see the QR code. So it's really simple then for the students to click on whichever one they're interested in, and it brings them directly to the application form. And for applicants, it's really easy to apply. And I'm going to hand you over to an MTU student, Nicholas, hopefully who's going to say the same thing as I've just said, and then I'll come back and talk to you again in a little bit.
Thank you,
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Carol, and hello to everyone who's listening. So, as I was introduced by Dee already, my name is Niklas, and I'm studying in MTU in Bishopstown campus, doing mechanical engineering, and I'm now in my 3rd year. But besides that, I'm really starting my entrepreneurial journey as well. So, over the course of this year, I was fortunate enough to take part in 2 competitions, being the Innovation Challenge 2025. The start of this year, the Prize for Innovation competition, and this summer, Student Inc. as well. And with every single of these application processes, I was using Submit. So I'm excited to tell everyone about the advantages that are associated with it. So the first competition was in January, and when I used Submit for the first time, it really transformed my way how I see application processes, because in the past or even today, when I was applying for other programs or courses, it's still very often used that applications are handled through papers. So it was a very clunky process for me because, of course, you need to first obtain the application, then you need to write it, fill it all out. And if you want to send it via email, then you need to scan it, but you might not have access to a scanner. And then I actually need to write the whole email to the person. So it isn't very professional. In the past, it actually held me back from submitting applications. So when I was using Submit for the first time, I was very, very pleased with it. It saved me so much time and effort. I had everything in one place and was super organized because our university, they embedded Submit on their MTU enterprise website. So it was very easy for me to find the actual application form. And all that I needed to do was create an account. So I was just using my student email, a password, and I was in. And then I got a list of many applications that MTU was hosting, and I learned about a few others as well. So I was just able to click on it, and then there was a question-based application process. So just the question, I was able to upload documents, I was able to fill out tables or answer multiple choice questions. And what I also really liked that Carol already mentioned, I was able to upload supporting documentation like PDF files or even larger videos, which always is an issue sending via email since it's quite restricted on the file size. So Submit enabled me to make my application as best as possible. And what I really love as well going forward from my first competition, when I was applying for my second one, there was a few things that would have overlapped between my first and my second competition, but luckily I was still able to access my first application. So I was able to see what I've written there, take a few parts out of it, put it into the new application. So it really saved me a lot of time, and especially with applications for such big competitions, you might not want to do it all in one go. So it was very nice for me that I was able to save it whenever I wanted. All the progress is there, and I could submit it and whenever I want. So I'm very happy about that. And what happened usually when I didn't have Submit in the past, I didn't really get a confirmation whether I actually submitted it or whether it was received. So I was quite left in the dark of is my application going through? Is it received? And if I wasn't accepted, there was no email whatsoever saying you weren't accepted. So with Submit, immediately when I save something, I get an email notification that I haven't finished it yet, the application process. I can access it again. And even when I finished my application, I get a confirmation email saying all the documents are received and are reviewed. So it really takes stress off of me as a student, and I don't need to worry about forgetting things, so I can full on focus on the actual reason why I'm applying, which is the competition itself. So it really streamlined it so much, and it was an enjoyable process, to be honest.
Thank you so much, Nicholas.
Okay, I'll keep going. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, thanks a million, Nicholas. And we're very coordinated in our red for Cork today. Just that wasn't planned.
I should have put it on myself. I didn't think. And before you kick off there again, Carol, it sounds like, certainly with this particular competition you mentioned at the beginning, it's been running for 18 years. With the change over to Submit platform, and even the changes you've seen in the Submit platform since you've been a client of ours, it's obviously helped evolve the program with the information you're asking for and collecting, not just, you know, sticking to the original kind of format. It's probably opened up a lot more possibilities in terms of what you're collecting and doing with the data.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose when I'm reviewing the applications, like the first thing I look at are the attachments. You know, is there a video there explaining what the product is or the idea is? And then that frames how I read the application. So like you wouldn't have that if it was going back to the paper-based application.
Yeah, or even just a standard kind of Word doc, or
Yeah.
you know, fill in this form. It still doesn't give that flexibility.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And by putting word limits on it as well, you know, it forces people to put down, you know, you know what they mean, rather than like 10 pages of rubbish, you know, that they have to get to their point.
You're so true. Everybody says the same thing. It's a case of they either say too much or too little. You know, you want more than a one-liner, but you don't need a whole biography, like 10 pages of things. So it's nice, yeah.
So I suppose I'll just go back. So I just gave you the example of how it started, I suppose, was Prize for Innovation, which was the original competition. And I suppose over the years, the amount of student activity that we have has grown. So currently we have 4 open call-outs. So one of them is, and Nicholas, to be fair, has done 3 of them. So the Innovation Challenge, the Prize for Innovation, and Student Inc. He's done all of those. And then Creator is a new program this year aimed at female undergraduate students. And it's more of a networking and confidence building in the hope that they will eventually become entrepreneurs. And my colleague Gert is also running the same program in UL. So we use it for competitions, we use it for programs. We also use it for if we need information from students, so presentations or documents. We actually put up a link and we say, okay, upload your documents here, upload your presentations here, so that they're all there in one place. And then we're not trying to open a Google Doc or anything like that. They're all in Submit in one place, and then we can share with them with whoever needs to share them.
That's clever.
Yeah. And then the other thing that we use it is for, we recruit a student enterprise intern every year, which we kind of do outside of HR, and we use that to accept the applications for that opportunity. So there's loads of different ways that we use it, and that's within the student entrepreneurship area.
Wow. And again, each one of those could have different workflows, different time frames and limits and requirements, and they're all independently, I suppose, managed within the platform then.
Yeah. And it's great because when we do class visits and there's a QR code up there, you know, the students can easily scan you know, from the screen and you know, start their application there and then, you know, so it's really good.
Actually, a quick question for Nicholas.
Sure.
Did you, because the platform is mobile friendly, as you say, you know, you can take a picture and click on it. Did you start any of the applications on the phone or use the phone at any stage, or did you stick to the desktop?
Yeah, actually, my very first application, the Innovation Challenge at the start of this year, I used it on the phone. And it was so nice that the website was actually optimized for it, or Submit is optimized for it, because with other software, it can be that it's all very small or it's hard to type in there or find things. But
Yeah.
I was very happy using it on the phone. Wasn't at all more complicated to use than on the desktop. So
Yeah.
it's nice because in a classroom setting, when we actually learn about these things, or I walk around campus and I see a poster with a QR code to scan, I don't want to get my laptop out and start filling out the application. So it's nice to just have it on the phone, and sharing it with other students as well on the go is very easy that way.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Sorry, Carol.
No,
Continue.
you're fine. So that's kind of the end of what we do here with the students. And I
Yeah.
suppose I just wanted to say that then I'm based in the on-campus incubator, the Rubicon Centre, and I suppose they've also adopted it. So again, moving from paper into Submit, and at any point in time they could have 5 or 6 different programs, recruiting for 5 or 6 different programs at any point in time. So the Rubicon Centre is in MTU in Cork, and we deal with people from an idea all up to the people that want to accelerate their business or grow their business. And funny story, a full circle, Submit actually started on one of the programs in the Rubicon Centre. So I remember when Pat Deneen came in and was on the New Frontiers program, and now they have office space in the Rubicon Centre as well.
We
So
do.
it's a lovely little community.
Yeah, and I suppose Paul, again, the New Frontiers, he runs it on the Submit platform now, the applications as well. So it's absolutely a full circle. So yeah.
And then they use it as well for uploading documents. So you need people to sign forms and upload stuff. So they use that then, and they just send the link, upload your forms here. So it's all
like a repository. I suppose everybody uses it slightly differently. There's something to be said. The platform's incredibly robust, but very flexible in that what do you need to use it for. So it's always interesting, new clients, because just understanding what do you need, and okay, this is how we can apply it using the platform. And sometimes there is a little shift in mindset, certainly if you're coming from a heavily paper-based process, and it's a case of very often it's somebody new to a role, they walk in and they're like, they can't get their head around, what do I have to do? There has to be an easier way, and generally they find us. So go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. So
okay. No, fine. So I suppose then I wanted to talk about beyond MTU. I suppose we used it this year, or just from the start of last year. So Student Inc. then was one of the is a program that we've been running here in MTU since 2013, and over the last couple of years we've expanded it and expanded it further again last year. So we had 9 universities all around Ireland. So my colleague Gert here from UL is one of those partners, and she'll talk in a little while. But the same program was being run across all the universities and all the on-campus incubators. So you can see how busy the map is. So you had all these students from all these campuses applying to this program. It was a one funding source, and it was one program across all the locations, and we were managing the marketing centrally. So what we did was we set up one call out for Student Inc. For everybody. And what we did then, one of the second question was, please indicate your home campus. Okay, so please use your university email address to verify that they're a student and that they're in the right thing. So this was the only difference in the application for all of the students. They picked between A and J, right? That's all they had to do, different to anybody else. This year then, as we were going along, we could see how many applications, how many were completed, and how many were draft. So luckily Gert didn't have to look at all those 519 applications. So what we did, and you're probably telling me there was an automatic way to do this, but anyway, we didn't figure it out in time. So as the applications were coming in, we would put them into a folder. So we've set up a folder for each of the partners. So in Gert's case, she was folder number 26, and it was Student Inc. 2025. And then we sent Gert the link to that folder. So the only thing that Gert saw were the applications that were to UL. And then Gert could score, or we could share that link with whoever was interviewing them. So I'm just going to let Gert talk there now for a while.
And Gert, before you jump in, Carol, you're absolutely right. That could have been automated using our tags. So I'll show you that offline if you like in a minute for next time.
So I'm going to hand over to Gert, who has been a partner in Studenting for a number of years, based out of UL.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you so much, Carol. Hi, Gert.
Hi, how are you? Thanks, Carol, for that. Just from UL's perspective, to put it in context as well, similar size to MTU, relatively young university. We started in 1972 as a National Institute for Higher Education and became a university then in 1989. We're on a big campus, a lot of green space, about 5 kilometres outside of the city, and we have similar size, about 18,000 students with a range of undergraduate and postgraduate students. We were one of the first universities in Ireland to introduce what we call co-op, which is basically a work placement as part of the degree. It's now pretty standard with most courses in Ireland. But because of that, our graduate employability has always been very strong, because a high percentage of the graduates go on to work in the workplace of where their student internship had happened. And we have quite strong links with industry as a result, and with research translation from academic research into industry from that. We've also evolved over the years to have 2 new programs that are very immersive. So instead of having one workplace opportunity for a student to go out and, apply what they've learned in-house in the university to the real world in a workplace environment, we have some immersive programs where the students work with a number of industry over the 3 or 4 years of their program, going into placement maybe twice a year on a 12-month program rather than an academic, September to August program. And the feedback from that has been really positive, and we've had an awful lot of applications. We just couldn't accommodate everybody that applied, but there's a very high entrepreneurial element of those students are coming from that program, because it's a slightly different way to study and learn. So the feedback from there has been really good. So I echo everything that Carol and Nicholas has said. So I'm not going to go over like the logistics of how we organized everything. But I will say that Carol is right. All the work that happened behind the scenes, Carol thankfully protected us as partner universities from all that. We didn't see the 500 odd applications that were coming in. We only saw what was relevant to our university. So what I did was I went to the students and to some of our colleagues who are working on these programs and with us using the Submit platform. And I asked them, what their feedback on the program was. So I'm just going to share, I literally have 2 slides. I'm trying to figure out now how I share in Zoom, because I'm not
we're all the same. Down in the middle, there's a green one down at the bottom.
I see share screen.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay.
You got it.
And
Thanks, Gert.
there's an additional share. Once you click the screen, there's an additional share in Zoom that you don't have to do in Teams.
Okay. Let's see now. Just bear with me one second, because I want to make this slightly bigger. I'm not sure which screen now. I think this is, can you see that?
Not yet. You go share, Gert, and then you click on the screen, and then down the bottom you have to hit share again. Down the bottom blue.
There
yeah,
you
it's
go.
coming up there now.
Yeah. Excellent.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So just to give you a perspective from us, we have, sorry now, move on.
Okay.
Is that coming up? No?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
The one with purpose on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
If
Great.
you want to click on present maybe, and it'll bring up like the slideshow.
Sorry now.
It's okay.
I thought I was on slideshow, but
That's all right.
sorry, I'm not as familiar with
we can still see
Zoom
it,
as
so don't
I am.
worry.
Once you can see it, I suppose that's all that really matters. So the primary feedback we got was what everybody loved, whether it was us as organisers of various initiatives, mainly Student Inc. in UL, or the people using it, was that everything was centralised. So we were all using the same platform. People were submitting on the same platform, and we were reviewing from the same platform. So it was one centralised resource that everybody would use. I you know, I'm on different boards and it's emails sent with attachments of board documents, and we're all different emails and we're all making different edits. And on Submit, everybody was working from centralized resource and everybody could see in real time amendments or uploads that were being made to the system. So that made it then very, very easy to use. It also made it a very streamlined process because everything was in the one place and everything was being evaluated and reviewed in real time. The next feedback we got was the efficiency of it. There was a lot of time saving because the organization and the tracking was happening seamlessly. We could track submission times, we could track feedback, we could track you know, where the submissions were, at what stage they were at, and there was a good range of useful options from, you know, reviewing the application to designing the form that was going to be submitted. The other thing that I hadn't really thought about was that it's paperless, and you would think that is kind of standard place now, but a number of people said that, you know, everything was done in the one place, so there was no need for printouts. You know, it's really basic. It really makes common sense, but there was no manual element to it. Everything was paperless, everything was online, and it was done in real time. And because everything was consistent in the one place, the feedback we got was there was an independent fairness to the evaluation because there was no subjectivity, there was no objectivity. There was objectivity. Everybody was reviewing the documentation in the one place, and it was all ranked systematically in the one place. So the feedback for that was really, really quite good. On the usability of the platform, the best thing we found was keeping track of stuff. And because it's a multi-university platform, we were able to keep track just of what we were doing. But on top of that, we also had access to, there was a centralized database set up of content that Carol and her team had set up. So we could see what all the templates were and all the resources that we need to run the program. They were all set up centrally and they were updated, you know, almost, not always daily, but definitely weekly. So that database was there centrally on Submit for us all to access. But then we had our customizable university specific version, that meant we could easily track the applications and we could keep on top of who's applying, where we're moving, who's looking for what. Do we need to follow up with people who are kind of stuck in the draft stage and any issues that they might have had. And they could download and we could download content easily. So it just meant there was no time wasted and everything was super efficient. Students loved the platform. They found it really user-friendly. They communicated with us well, and they were able to query anything, any concerns or issues that they had. We were able to respond on the platform. And for a cross-institutional project like Student Inc., I think it worked really well because, as I said, we had the centralized database, but then we had our own customized database. And then we knew that the centralized Student Inc. team, they were able to oversee all of the 9 universities that were participating, because sometimes we didn't realize that, you know, we should have been ahead of where we were, or we were too far ahead of where we were, or we had too few applications coming in, and they could benchmark us against other universities and then be able to alert us to the fact that, you know, there was issues or timings that we could improve on, without us having to get involved in the fussy, you know, 500 odd, you know, busy templates and applications that were sitting on the system. Yeah. It was very organized, very structured, but it was also customizable. So we could use our own logos, we could tailor to our own content, we could deliver it to the places we wanted to deliver it to. We could tailor our own visuals. So although everything was very branded as Student Inc. National Programme, we still had a customizable element on Submit that allowed us to tailor it to each of our student universities. So I used the Submit platform more as a reviewer of the content rather than a deliverer of, you know, uploading templates and putting it there. And it was comforting to know that everything was private and secure and it was all in the one place, and it was just easy for everyone to access, whether you were the student uploading or whether you were us as the individual reviewing the applications and monitoring progress. And what I liked about it was that it was used continuously. Sometimes you have these platforms where you upload and you put everything in one place, and then you don't use the content after that. That wasn't the case at Student Inc.
Yeah.
Everything was continuously used in the one place. It was accessed centralized, but you could also tap into the individual customizable element of, you know, what you're doing when you wanted to do it. Now, like Carol, I use Submit in a number of different ways. So in this instance, for Student Inc., we were able to upload our own content and customize it to UL and have access to the national platform content. But I'm also involved in other, like New Frontiers or the evaluation committees for local enterprise boards. In those instances, they all submit applications in one location. And what I like about Submit there is everything I just said, it is, you know, applicable to that situation as well. But you also have the ability to go back over years. So there's a database of previous content that's there. So you immediately go to the new version, but the old content is still there as well. So you can see old applications, you can see old scoring, you can revise templates. So I use it in a couple of different places. Some of the boards that I'm on, they use it. New Frontiers use it, local enterprise offices use it, and then we use it here for our student competitions. It's the same content, but it's just tailored to the audience that's using it in almost the same way. It just happens to be a different cohort that uses it. So usability, user friendliness, speed, adaptability. Third, the general feedback that the users of the platform here in UL have said to me that they like best about Submit.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Gert. I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for a better testimonial there now, to be fair. I suppose in terms of, certainly you've been involved in so many programs over the years. What have you learned from using Submit that maybe other universities or other organizations should consider if they are still kind of doing it old school, whatever that means to them, you know, whether it is paper-based or it is online, but an online form doesn't mean you download it up from online, fill it in and then email it back again, because there's so many different people doing it different ways. So any hints or tips that you guys have picked up?
I suppose I've mentioned already, but it's just the time that you can save, really. Even like rinse and repeat, like if you're doing the same competition over again, it's literally change the date, you know, copy, change the date, change the heading. That's it. You know, you can have the same call out, and then you have the option to edit whatever. So it's just a huge time saving tool, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think we also use it as a project management tool, because Carol is very good at showing all the universities where you're at and how we're comparing to each other. So to manage a big project with multi-partners in a centralized resource, I think does help manage the project and make sure that we're all moving ahead at the time and at the time scale and at the deadline, and meeting our metrics as well as we're moving forward centralized. So I hadn't anticipated the project management piece, but I think it does work.
It was like
thankfully I don't have to do that, Carol.
It was like going to confession when we threw up the metrics, who's got what applications. It's like,
we were afraid of the meeting. There was a flurry beforehand to get our metrics up.
Carol's very strict, is she? No, but I suppose something you're both touching about the data, and look, the data retention, and it's key as well. Obviously, we're fully GDPR compliant. You've got compliance as well is a big thing now, and data retention is something that's, I think, more so in the last few years than maybe previously. And, you know, archiving, and, you know, it's there, but it's secure. Or you can, you know, delete after a certain period of time. Absolutely, you've got full autonomy over the whole platform and the data you're collecting. The other thing, obviously, is reporting and, you know, talking about metrics and measuring impact, because it's not just about running a program and then, oh, it's great, it's done. Okay, it's reporting, surveys, updates, looking at those key metrics afterwards, because for an awful lot of people and different programs, if they are being funded, they need to be able to show their funders how and where the money has been spent. Can we continue with this program this year? And I know from speaking to clients in the last 2 years, I would say in some cases funding has been cut, and they've really had to kind of show, look, this is the difference and these are the metrics, and, you know, the KPIs that are just, I think, more so now in the last few years, even more important. Would you say the same, I suppose?
Absolutely. And you can see not only, you know, you can see trends as well. So it's not, you know, you can just go into your dashboard and say, okay, this, you know, this is that same program for the last 3 years. This is how it's grown.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so easy to figure out your trends in terms of applications and all of that, you know.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I think consistency is really important, because when Carol first started this program, it has improved, you know, as the years have gone by, and with that comes a level of quality that students expect. So when everything is centralized in the one place, and as Carol said, the database is there for us to go back to, we know that what Nicholas experienced in this program is at least what the next student is going to participate, because everything has been done, proven and centralized and standardized in general, but customizable for each location. So then when we move forward to next year, we know that that's the minimum that's expected. We look back at what we did last year, that's the minimum. So it can, we're only allowed to go up, not down.
Yeah, the only way is up. Yeah, and it's scalable. As your programs grow, obviously the universities, and you're so busy, it is scalable, the platform, and it can do whatever you need it to do ultimately. I think that's the core.
And as a reviewer of the platform as well, because Student Inc. grew this year to the point where we had multi-universities, but we also had different what we call them, themes of we had a creative element, and then we had the standardized program. And it can be very busy as an individual running a program if you're stuck into what everybody else is doing. So to be able to access the resources but only focus on your own cohort was really valuable, because you don't get lost in the busyness of what other people are doing. You only get access to the general supports, but you just see what you need to see for yourself. And I think that is really good. That just means that you're working efficiently, and everything is available literally at the touch of a button for when you need it.
Yeah, it's just, again, transparency, you know, just being able to show what people need to see. That's the main thing.
Thank you. Definitely, and sorry, I just, one last point, I suppose it helped as well when we were making the funding application, you know, how to manage all the applications. So we were able to say we have one application platform, you know, and all students apply through that. You know, and it did exactly what it said on the tin, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's getting back to the metrics again, and just being able to measure the impact of all the programs that you're running through the platform. I suppose to finish up now, unless
do people have questions, or questions?
I don't think we have many still on right now. So any Q&As, and I'll be reaching out with the resources, with the slides, with the recording, and any Q&As I'll come back to you if there's anything specific. But I'll make sure to follow all that up. In terms of, just touch my last questions now. Hang on, anything else? No, I suppose ultimately, and if I can just finish up on 1 or 2 slides, if that's all right. I say that, and I'm looking around for which slides am I doing to do here now. But here, okay. So ultimately, look, Submit, the idea for any of our clients, but ultimately for the higher education universities, just empowering the organizations to manage applications, competitions, programs, submissions seamlessly. So whatever the program is or for, it should be, and as I think you've all stressed really today, it is very easy, regardless of the program type and what somebody's applying for. And also the platform automates the workflows, centralizes reviews. So centralization was a big thing I think today we've discussed, and delivers, Gert, I think you mentioned it most, about delivering the real-time insights, being able to see instantly the changes that are being made and happening on their program, significantly reducing the admin work and just overall improving the user experience, be that the applicant, the student, like Nicholas or Carol, you know, the program manager, or the reviewers and judges like Gert. It's making sure everybody is happy in their own little bubble, however they're accessing or using the platform, I think is key. And all I have to say from after that is thank you. Thank you everybody for joining me today, and just really for the discussion and being so open about your experience and how you're using the platform. And that's it.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really
Thanks,
appreciate your
You're very
time this
welcome.
morning.
You're welcome.
I'll talk to you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thanks
so
for
much,
having
Lee,
us.
for
Thanks,
having
Gert.
me.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
great day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Take care.